Welcome to the Instagram Stories for Friday, December 6th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Today on the show, we're going to talk about TikTok moving ever closer to the US ban because they have lost a bid to overturn the new law. And also, the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, is going to talk about how many times per week you should post on Instagram. And lastly, the CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, is going to make some announcements about the progress they made on Meta AI and what they're planning for the future. All that and more, stay tuned. Welcome back. Our biggest story of the day is that TikTok is potentially one step closer to disappearing in the United States because a panel of federal judges unanimously upheld the new law that the app could be banned by mid-January. The three judges in the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit denied TikTok's petition to overturn the law banning the app. If you haven't been following the saga as I've been covering it over the past few months, there was a law signed in April that requires TikTok's Chinese parent company owner, ByteDance, to sell the app to a non-Chinese company by January 19th or face being banned in the United States. TikTok has said that such a sale is impossible, in part because it would be blocked by the Chinese government. The company argued that the law unfairly singled out TikTok and that a ban would infringe on the First Amendment rights of American users. What happened today is that the three judges disagreed with TikTok's argument. They said that the law was, quote, carefully crafted to deal with only control by a foreign adversary, end quote, and did not run afoul of the First Amendment. They continued, quote, the government acted solely to protect that freedom from a foreign adversary nation and to limit that adversary's ability to gather data on people in the United States, end quote. This is what the judges had written in their briefing. TikTok responded by saying that it would appeal the decision to the Supreme Court, which it expects to rule differently. Here's the quote from TikTok. The Supreme Court has an established historical record of protecting Americans' rights to free speech, and we expect that they will do just that on this important constitutional issue. This is according to Michael Hughes, a spokesman for TikTok. He went on to call the ban, quote, outright censorship of the American people, end quote. Overall, it's unclear what will happen with TikTok as that January 19th date gets ever closer, but I will continue to keep you updated. And now let's hear from the head of Instagram talking about how often you should post on Instagram. It's very important to recognize that there's a fine line between creating quality content on Instagram regularly and completely burning yourself out for a platform that does not care about you at all. The head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, agrees that creator burnout is a real thing. Here's the clip.
Creators ask me a lot how often they should post on Instagram. And though there's no one perfect answer, two things are true. One is the more you post in general, the more reach you're going to get. The other is if you commit to too much content creation, you're going to burn out because creator burnout is a real thing. So my advice is try to come up with a schedule that you can sustain over the long run and you can continue to enjoy. Because if you're enjoying making this content, if you're enjoying being creative, that content is going to be better for it. And I have seen creators that are very successful that create only one thing a month. And I've seen creators that are very successful that create 5 reels a day. For every person, it's going to be different, but pick some pace that is sustainable for you. My other advice is define a few patterns, things that you can do on the regular so it's easier to create content when you might be facing writer's block. So for me, I do my Ask Me Anything every Friday. I try to highlight a creator every week or two. I try to do advice videos. So I always have a few patterns that I can go back to if I'm not sure what I want to create on any given day. Hopefully this advice helps a little bit. More to come.
I think it's important to take what he says with a grain of salt in this particular case. That content creator who's making content just one time per month, that is definitely the exception to the rule. It is not like you can create one piece of content that is average, doesn't really stand out, and it's going to go viral just from you doing that one time per month. It would be a nice thought. Maybe it's a filmmaker or somebody else who does something just one time per month and it's so good. That's entirely possible, but I don't think that's the average creator on Instagram. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, is going to talk about the progress that they've been making with AI and what they're planning for the future. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, talked about what they've been accomplishing with AI and what their plans are for the future. Here's the clip.
All right, hey guys, I've got our last big AI update of the year. Our goal at Meta is to build general intelligence and open source it so that way everyone benefits. Meta AI now has nearly 600 million monthly actives and, as promised, is on track to be the most used AI assistant in the world by the end of the year. If you haven't gotten a chance to try voice mode yet, try it. It's awesome. Now, I started 2024 talking about how we had a bunch of H100s, that this was going to be a big year for open source AI. And it has been. Llama has quickly become the most adopted model with more than 650 million downloads, and it is starting to become an industry standard. We have one more release for the year. Llama 3.3 is a new 70 billion parameter text model that performs about as well as our 405 billion parameter model, but now it is easier and more efficient to run. So that is the last Llama 3 release. The next stop is Llama 4. And if we started the year talking about the size of our clusters for training Llama, I want to start to wrap the year by doing the same. We just announced that we were building a 2 gigawatt plus data center in Louisiana that we're going to use to train future versions of Llama. We are in this for the long term, and we are committed to building the most advanced AI in the world. All right, thank you for a great year so far. I'm looking forward to sharing more soon.
I personally don't have a lot of thoughts on that update other than I've been using Google Gemini and Google Notebook, and I've been enjoying both. I haven't used the Meta AI as much. I occasionally use ChatGPT, but I do see all of these platforms making a lot of progress in this space, being able to do things that they couldn't a year ago or even 6 months ago. So it is nice to see this progress. Okay, that's it for the news portion of the show. Now let's move on to the part where you, as the community of listeners, can contribute. Historically, the week between Christmas and New Year's is very slow for social media news. So I would like to do a year in review recap, and I would like you, as a listener, to contribute to the show by giving your thoughts. I would like to get audio answers to the questions: what was your favorite Instagram feature in 2024? What was your favorite TikTok or Reel trend from 2024? And what are your predictions for social in 2025? I have written not only these questions, but a script for what you can use to start off your audio recording, and I've included that in the show notes. So take a look, start there. If you have questions, please send me a direct message at Daniel Hill Media. I would really appreciate it, and I look forward to playing your answers on the show. That's it for today's episode. Be sure to come back next time when we break down what the head of Instagram shared on his Ask Me Anything. So be sure to come back next time for that.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually that's factually a fraction of me. And other fractions posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency. But I got a lot of spam, just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.